reversibility property as specified in a statistic characteristic. So here we have to take care of these characteristics while selecting any type of sensor or transducer for measurement of a physical parameter. In this lecture, we people are going to study a displacement measure. Now, first part of displacement measurement, what are the contents that we people are going to study are introduction of the displacement, that is need of measurement, types of displacement, then displacement transducer. Again, it is classified into two types, that is resistive, inductive, capacitive. These are contact type of displacement transducer, whereas non-contact types are ultrasonic, Hall's effect, that is nothing but a magnetic flux, depend upon the magnetic flux, and optical and proximetry sensors. So these are non-contact type of transducers. But going in the deep, prior to that, we will first of all see what is displacement and what is distance. What is the difference between distance and what is the difference between the displacement? Now, distance is the length of path traveled and displacement is a shortest distance from initial point to the final point. This can again be bifurcated, or at the primary level, we people can say a uniform and non-uniform motion to achieve your distance or displacement. Now, what is uniform motion? A body is said to be a uniform motion if it travels a equal distance in a equal time interval. Now, this equal time interval, if you try to see, and if I select a point A over here and another point B over here, and if we travel from this particular part to this particular part, that is from A point to B point in in 5 seconds, in 5 seconds, and this is our C point, that is the C point. This is also covered in 5 seconds. So if this is 10-meter distance, this is our 10-meter distance, and this is also 10-meter distance. So time required to cover the distance from A to B is 5 seconds, whereas from B to C is also 5 seconds, and for both the cases we are having the similar distance, that is your 10 meter. So this is nothing but we are covering a distance of 20 meter in 10 seconds, but here we people are having a uniform motion of a vehicle or uniform motion of a person, that is traveling from point A to point B and from point B to point C. So over here, that if it travels a equal distance in equal time interval in a straight line, with a constant speed plus constant direction, constant speed plus constant direction is called as a velocity, So this one is your uniform motion. So uniform motion means body is traveling with a constant velocity. Body is traveling with a constant velocity, whereas non-uniform motion is opposite to that of uniform motion. Now, unequal interval of a time, unequal interval of a time. It means that body is traveling unequal distance with equal time interval. Now, this is our point A and this is our point B. This is our point C. Here, if you try to cover this particular distance of 5 meters and this particular distance of 10 meter, 10 meter. So over here, we people are considering a 10-meter distance. First one in first second and second one is in 2 seconds. 1 second, 2 seconds. Now here your non-uniformity is generated or ununiform motion is created over here. It means body is traveling or any vehicle, it is traveling unequal distance. If you see, this is not equal distance. This is unequal distance with equal time interval. With equal time interval. Speed is changing over here. Speed is changing over here. So now we people will see about the distance. So distance, or rather than that, I will specify a speed. Speed is equal to distance upon time. Whatever the distance that has been covered, distance upon time. Distance upon time. And this velocity is equal to displacement upon time. Displacement upon time. Now looking towards this particular aspect, I would like to specify small d I will consider for distance, which is equal to speed s into time. This is also measured in a meter. And here displacement I will consider with a capital D, where we people can consider v as a velocity multiplied by time t. This is also measured in terms of a meter. What is the difference between distance and what is the difference between displacement? This is the scalar quantity and this is the vector quantity. Why this is so? If I have considered point A and again point B, again point C, so from point A to point B and point B to point C. Now the displacement, if I consider a displacement at that time, what is going to happen? From point A to point C, I will consider this one as an initial point and this one as a final point. So from initial point to final point, the motion of the body in a single direction. In a single direction. So that is your displacement. Here it is providing you the motion with a direction. That's why it is a vector quantity. Vector quantity. Whereas you can cover a distance A to distance C, and again from C to A. Now body is moving from A to C. When it reaches to point C, and again comes back at A. So what is your distance? You have traveled, suppose this is 5 meter, then a body has been, I mean, the distance obtained for the body is 5 meters and again back to 5 meters. So it will be 10 meters. But what is the displacement? Displacement will be 0 because the body has been again reached to its initial position. This is the difference between your distance and displacement. The another point I would like to share is that you are covering with you are moving with a uniform speed. This is your displacement. But distance you cannot specify. You can reach to point C not by only this direction. This is your displacement. That is the shortest distance. That is the displacement. Displacement means shortest distance that has been covered. But in case of distance, you can move like this and reach to the point C. So this is your distance. This is nothing but your distance. Hope so you people have got the point regarding the distance. Okay, so now we people will go thoroughly for the measurement of displacement measure. Here, whatever the concept I have elaborated in the previous description, that we people has been presented in the written form. So the action of moving something from its place or position, that is displacement, a vector quantity. Displacement is vector quantity. Represents change in position of a point or a body with respect to reference point. What was our reference point? Our reference point was point A with direction to a particular side as shown as a B and as shown as a bar. That's why it is a vector quantity. Difference between coordinate of two points. Now, distance is a scalar quantity, refers to how much ground an object has been covered. It means that you are supposed to reach to the final point, but it is not mandatory that what particular way you have to move. Actually, you can move randomly to reach your initial point. That is the distance during its motion. During its motion. Then displacement, as I have already told you, it is the vector quantity refers to a far out of a place an object is. It is the object's overall change in position, but it should be in a particular direction. It means it is acquiring a shortest distance to reach the final point. Okay. Now, what is the need of